I wasn't expecting Caitlin Clark to be coming back this early, but ESPN put out an article earlier this week kind of summing up. They was predicting Caitlin Clark to be back by August the 12th. Now, this just came out of the pipeline of the Indiana Fever front office. Let's pull it up right now.
The Golden Goose is finally making her return, and the basketball world is holding its collective breath. After weeks of silence and endless speculation, Caitlin Clark's injury status has been upgraded to a game-time decision, sending shockwaves through every corner of the WNBA. The Indiana Fever's franchise centerpiece, the league's undisputed ratings draw, and the single most important figure in women's basketball is lacing up her sneakers again.
Effing Clark is a game-time decision. She is a game-time decision. She is, as far as I'm aware, someone said she's listed as questionable on the app. Someone said on the app she's listed as questionable. But she is a game-time decision, apparently. Look, if we're gonna be honest, no, she's a game-time.
When Clark hits the hardwood, it's more than just a player coming back. It's the revival of the league's heartbeat. Without their golden ticket, the WNBA has been limping along, watching ratings nosedive like a falling star. But now, the cavalry has arrived, and everyone involved, from executives to rookies, knows their paychecks are riding on what happens next.
Clark may be back, and that will leave a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games left to get ready for the playoff run. Right now, you're looking at the Atlanta Dream, or you're looking at the Phoenix Mercury, which should be very interesting considering all the plots around.
Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone knows. Before Clark's groin injury on July 15th, Indiana Fever games averaged a jaw-dropping 1.81 million viewers. The moment she left the lineup, that figure free fell to 847,000. That's a brutal 53% drop, hitting the league like a runaway freight train packed with reality checks.
Argue this intelligently. No one person means as much to their league, whatever league it is, as Caitlin Clark means to the WNBA. And no person has done more for their league than what Caitlin Clark has done for the WNBA. Patrick Mahomes does not mean that much to the NFL. Steph Curry does not mean that much to the NBA. LeBron James does not mean that much to the NBA. She is a monster. When we look back on this, Caitlin Clark will be for the WNBA what Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were for the...
And the bad news doesn't stop there. League-wide national WNBA viewership plunged 55% during Clark's absence. Let that sink in. Over half the league's TV audience vanished because one player was sidelined. That's not just popularity, that's economic dependency so extreme it would make any CEO start sweating bullets.
You can't tell me that the Caitlin Clark effect isn't real. You knew when news broke yesterday that Caitlin Clark was going to be out for a few weeks, that ticket prices were going to go down, but I never expected them to go down 71% for the rivalry game. I can't help but laugh because the first thing that I thought of when I saw this was a quote that we got last year from Angel Reese when she was talking about how people don't just watch the WNBA for Caitlin. They watch it because of her as well. Hate to say it, those numbers don't lie. They're watching because of Caitlin.
The ticket market painted the same grim picture. With Clark in uniform, Fever games commanded an average price of $137. Without her, they became $80 clearance bin specials. When Chicago faced Indiana without both Clark and Angel Reese, tickets that once fetched $86 sank to a humiliating $25. Even marquee matchups cratered. Premium seats slid from $210 to $95, and the cheapest options tumbled from $86 to $25. Teams banking on Clark's star power were left holding the bag. The Washington Mystics even moved a game to Baltimore to handle the expected crowd, only to watch ticket prices freefall from $41 to $14 when she was ruled out.
Sky tickets dropped 71% on TickPick after Caitlin Clark injury. The get-in price for the Chicago Sky versus Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever game was $86, after Caitlin Clark's injury announcement is now down to $25. And you Angel Reese fangirls will still believe and think that Angel Reese is the reason why people are watching the WNBA.
Sports economist Ryan Brewer estimates Clark's economic impact could soar to $1 billion this season. And those aren't fluff numbers built for headlines. That's ticket revenue, merchandise, tourism, TV deals, and every other ripple effect of a cultural phenomenon. Her presence alone is pegged at $340 million for the Fever, transforming them from a middling franchise into the league's crown jewel. The reach stretches far beyond Indianapolis. It's a league-wide economic engine with her at the center.
We're on the verge of seeing Caitlin Clark become bigger than the sport herself. WNBA viewing attendance is up over 200% since she joined the league. The Indiana Fever actually are outselling the Pacers, averaging over 17,000 attendance per game. That's crazy. $1 billion is the estimated increase in WNBA valuation based on Caitlin Clark alone. $1 billion. Now, this is up about 25% from the total economic value. Crazy to see these kind of numbers. I think we're on the verge of seeing something like MJ Tiger, where the average consumer goes to the TV because of somebody.
When Clark hits the road, ticket prices spike an average of 140%, with resale seats averaging $312. Of the 10 best-selling WNBA games on StubHub this season, every single one has featured the Fever. Dick's Sporting Goods reported a 233% jump in WNBA merchandise sales over last year, while Fanatics saw a staggering 500% surge. Clark ranks in the top 20 selling athletes across all sports, and 6th among all basketball players, including NBA superstars. Her Nike deal? Reportedly $28 million over 8 years, dwarfing her $76,535 WNBA salary and underscoring the massive gap between her value and her paycheck.
Caitlin Clark's agent, Aaron Kane, said Caitlin will never be paid what she's worth by the WNBA because it is quite literally impossible for them to pay her what she's worth. An economist at Indiana University Columbus calculated that Caitlin Clark was responsible for $36 million in economic impact to the city of Indianapolis, and that she is responsible for 27% of the entire WNBA's economic activity for this past season, including attendance, merchandise sales, and television. One player in a big league responsible for 27% of the...
Clark's looming return is made even bigger by the Fever's desperate reality. Since she went down, both backup point guards, Ari McDonald and Sydney Colson, suffered season-ending injuries in the August 7th clash with Phoenix, forcing the team to sign 12-year veteran Odyssey Sims on a hardship contract. In her absence, Indiana went 6-4 over their last 10, including a 92-70 blowout of Chicago with just 9 active players. Kelsey Mitchell stepped up at point guard brilliantly, logging 26 points, 8 assists, and only 1 turnover. Aaliyah Boston has been on a tear, hitting 78% from the field over a 4-game span. But everyone in the building knows this is temporary. The Fever can tread water without Clark, but they can't dominate, they can't contend, and they can't keep the TV ratings and ticket sales that turned them from irrelevant to essential. As Sophie Cunningham bluntly put it, they're simply a different team without her.
You're wondering about Odyssey. She is a guard, 5'8". She's a veteran, 33 years old. This is interesting. She's been an all-star. She's also was 2019 All-WNBA. 2014 All-Rookie Team. She's had some good seasons in here, folks. No, she doesn't have a great history with the three-point shot. But if Caitlin Clark is coming back...
Clark's recent appearance on Sue Bird's podcast shed light on the immense psychological weight she carries. She admitted feeling the responsibility of being out there, not just for her team, but for the entire league. Fully aware that viewership and ticket sales take a noticeable hit whenever she's unavailable. This is no longer just about her performance on the court. It's about knowing that hundreds of jobs, millions in revenue, and the forward momentum of women's basketball all depend on her staying healthy. A telling moment came when her mother texted her during recovery. "You've taken so much time for everybody else. You have to take time for yourself now." Clark's situation is unlike that of a typical injured athlete. she's balancing personal recovery with the burden of being the league's economic engine. And the nature of her soft tissue injury makes it even harder, forcing her into the stop-and-go rhythm of limited play without the gradual build-up of a training camp. Instead, she's dropped straight into high-stakes games, like stepping into Game 30 of a season cold, while knowing that every game she misses has ripple effects far beyond basketball.
Active and playing 4 games and then not, and like not feeling the best, and then like frustrated of like how hard I worked in the off season, and then like all I do is rehab and like continue to do this process and just like trying to trust that the best I can. And obviously there's really frustrating days, and there's days where like it's a little bit easier and like you're very, very motivated and like you're close to the finish line of getting back and being back, and then like it's not like I have a training camp to like build up to like playing my first game again. It's like, no, like you're tossed into Game 30, like go try to play well, like it's hard. Like
when Clark finally returns, and all signs indicate it will be soon, expect pure pandemonium. Her comeback game could shatter regular season WNBA viewership records. The last time she returned from injury, against the New York Liberty on June 14th, the matchup peaked at 2.8 million viewers, making it ESPN's third most-watched WNBA game ever on ABC. Even without her, WNBA viewership is up 21% compared to last year, and non-fever games are up 37%, proving the league's growth is real. But everyone knows that when Clark is on the court, interest hits another gear. The timing of her return couldn't be more critical. The Fever sit 5th in the standings at 18-14, solidly in playoff position but needing every win to secure their spot. They're riding momentum after dismantling Chicago without her, proving they can play high-level basketball under pressure. Still, her presence could be the difference between a playoff run and a deep playoff run.
Caitlin Clark just helped deliver a major statement win. On Saturday, June 14, Caitlin Clark returned to the court for the Indiana Fever after missing 5 games due to a quad injury. The Indiana Fever handed the New York Liberty their first loss of the season, and Caitlin Clark was at the center of it. She made a return with force, leading the charge on both ends of the floor, and she came back in dominant fashion, putting up 32 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. Just shy of a 30-point triple-double in a 102-88 win over the New York Liberty. Now, even NBA's own LeBron James took notice, posting the CC effect.
The business ripple effects of Clark's return are staggering. Before she debuted last season, ESPN's WNBA ratings were flat, but once she started playing, viewership surged. ESPN games average 1.3 million viewers with her in the lineup, a 7% jump from already strong numbers. Flora Kelly, ESPN's VP of Research, acknowledged Clark's singular impact while noting the league's broader growth. "We love Caitlin Clark and think she's a generational talent, but the growth outside Fever games is something people are overlooking." Still, the numbers speak for themselves. 21 of the 24 most-watched WNBA broadcasts last season featured Clark. Her return also aligns with the league's $2.2 billion media rights deal starting in 2026 with NBC Sports and ESPN, where she is expected to be the marketing cornerstone. Teams are already adapting to the Clark effect, moving home games against Indiana to larger venues. Her preseason exhibition in Iowa became the most expensive ticket of her career, with resale prices topping $1,750.
Caitlin Clark continues to crush the viewership department and bring in those big ratings. This is from ESPN PR. This past Sunday, ABC aired another of its most watched WNBA games ever with the Indiana Fever's win over the Dallas Wings. It averaged 2.1 million viewers and peaked at 2.5 million viewers. WNBA on ESPN is up 7% from last season, man. What? The numbers are crazy. The numbers are crazy. She's a draw.
For the Fever, the urgency around Clark's return isn't just about this season. It's about maximizing a short championship window. With consecutive #1 picks in Aaliyah Boston and Clark, the team is built to win now. But the WNBA's salary cap and competitive balance make sustained dominance difficult. Indiana must capitalize on Clark's rookie contract and current momentum before other teams catch up. Coach Stephanie White is well aware of the stakes, saying, "The margin for error when you're talking about playing championship-caliber teams is so small." This is why the Fever stacked the roster with veterans like Dana Bonner, Natasha Howard, and Sophie Cunningham, players who can help Clark chase a title immediately. Clark herself set the tone before the season. "My expectation is for us to try to win a championship." That wasn't casual optimism. It was a declaration from a generational player who knows her value, understands the moment, and is determined to turn potential into banners.
Seen Caitlin Clark since the beginning of July. A lot of people had predicted for her to be out around the end of August, but this is a great update, seeing that she could possibly play tomorrow going up against Paige Beckers. Now, we know they have been having this crazy narrative about Paige and Caitlin, Paige being better. Everything will be put to bed tomorrow, I pray, Caitlin.
When Clark returns, she's not just coming back to play basketball. She's stepping into a league where every opponent knows their careers, salaries, and relevance are tied to her performance. Players now understand the uncomfortable truth. The WNBA surge isn't shared success. It's the Caitlin Clark show with supporting roles. Her absence exposed a fragile foundation. One injury can sink ratings, attendance, and momentum. Now she's returning to a packed, injury-heavy schedule, facing elite competition on national TV. The psychological battle has already started, and her first game back is the opening shot in a fight for the future of women's basketball.
2.1 million average viewers to watch the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, take on the Dallas Wings. ABC airs another of its most watched WNBA games ever. WNBA games ever. Ever, forever. ABC's fourth most watched WNBA game ever, more than 120 regular season and postseason games. More than 120 regular season and postseason games. This is more than most WNBA finals games, including last year.
Clark's return matters far beyond the numbers. She's a cultural force, bringing in fans who never watched women's basketball before, with her games often outdrawing NBA playoff matchups. The Caitlin Clark effect has made the WNBA must-see TV, but it's also loaded her with massive pressure. She carries the hopes of players chasing bigger salaries, networks banking on record viewership, and fans who believe this is a turning point for the sport. From 96,000 All-Star votes 2 years ago to 1.3 million now, she's smashing records in attendance, ratings, and cultural reach. The league's golden goose is back, and all eyes are on what happens next.